I'm here on behalf of Bike Concord. We're interviewing candidates for Concord City Council in the 2016 election. With me right now is Gloria Casillas, who is one of the candidates. And Gloria, why don't you tell us a little bit about your candidacy and what you hope to accomplish on City Council?
Well, I've been living in Concord for about 4 years. I actually moved over from Martinez, and before that I lived in Sacramento. And what I hope to is to establish or to improve and help or even create is a better outreach program for Concord, and also develop a safety program for the new Concord naval base weapons station, and also investment in our current Concord that we have right now.
As you know, probably Bike Concord's mission is to make bicycling safe and convenient in our city. So I have some questions about your views and experience on that. How much do you personally bicycle and for what purposes?
Currently, I do not do much bicycling other than just recreational. I will say that before I moved to Concord, I actually did bike quite a bit. I lived in Martinez for about 1.5 years, and I lived in downtown Martinez and commuted to Sacramento on Amtrak. And to get to the Amtrak station, I would ride my cruiser. And from Sacramento, I would, from the train station, I would ride it to my work, my job, which was located in downtown Sacramento. So I commuted quite a bit with my bike. My bike was everything I needed because, I'm not sure if you realize, but sometimes Amtrak is not always that reliable. So when it was late, the best way to get to work was ride your bike, because this way walking took too long, and at least you could go through the streets and get there through the bike lanes that they did have. They didn't have many, but the ones they did have. And when I lived in Sacramento, I lived in Midtown Sacramento, and that's not too far from downtown Sacramento, which is a few blocks. And there's really no reason not to ride my bike. So I would ride my bike, and I did have my bike stolen once or twice. Well, no, my bike stolen once, and my husband's bike, they were stolen twice. So it's also, what's it called, a risk sometimes leaving it outside, but I did used to bike quite a bit. But as I moved to Concord, I actually drive everywhere, which is a bummer because I would prefer to either use public transport or be able to commute on my bike.
What's your experience with local transportation issues? What problems do you see in transportation, and what solutions do you favor?
My issues with local transportation issues. One of them would be my first time getting on the county connection here in Concord to go to. I was trying to get to Antioch, and I looked up the app. I tried everything. I knew what bus to take to get to Ignacio Valley and Ignacio Road, and then from there I should have been able to get the express bus to Antioch. But I get on the bus and I see him take a different turn. And I'm like, then I go up to the bus driver and ask him, where are we going? And he's all, oh, we go this way. I was like, you don't go straight. He's all, nope, don't go near that. I was like, that doesn't help. So then I called County Connection. They weren't too sure. And I was like, okay, never mind. I'm just going to get off and walk, because I wasn't sure where I was going to go, and I needed to be in Antioch at a certain time. And from there, I want to say my experience was a little sour, because I expected to have more reliability, more information, and it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. But I haven't given up. I still take it to the BART station. Not a big deal. It's an easy route. But looking more into transportation, I realized from my house, I can walk to the bus stop maybe in 5 minutes. But if I wanted to get to the hospital from my house, it would take me more than I think it would take me about a half hour or longer, and I could just walk an extra 10 minutes, and it would take me the same amount. So that's not convenient. So I do see that there is a problem with some unreliability and maybe some routes, and we can make it more easy and convenient for our residents here in Concord.
How large a part do you think bicycling can play in Concord's transportation system?
I think it would play a large part. First, because I see tons and tons of cars, and I unfortunately happen to be one of those cars. My husband, he actually carpools because he realized just to get out of the Concord, it was taking him longer than expected. So he's fortunate to be able to carpool. But when I leave in the mornings, if I leave at certain times, I just know that I'm going to be stuck in traffic, so I might as well just leave later or work from home. So my other option is always to work from home, so this way I can actually save on commute and keep my car off the roads and decongest what I can. So I see biking being a big improvement if we had more bike lanes, but some of those streets, they're scary. I don't know if I could actually drive down Clayton Road and feel safe. There's corners that people take. They don't always stop at red lights. It would be something that I would take with caution, and maybe also want to have a bike safety for residents who drive cars, and let them understand that we need to share the road.
This is a kind of off the
Okay.
list question, but how would you feel about bicycling on a street like Monument Boulevard or Clayton Road if there were a bike lane that were protected by some kind of barrier, like posts?
I actually would try it. I would try it because Monument Road, I'm trying to think of when I go to Kohl's or Food Bags or so forth. Maybe I do have a cruiser, so I could put things in my basket. So I would see myself, okay, maybe I could just take a bike ride, and it would get me out there to actually exercise, which I haven't done that often anymore. But I would see it as a great improvement, and it would be something I think convenient for many, many people. Those actually who don't have cars can actually get out there and even look for jobs or get to places where they thought they couldn't before because they would be too scared to get on the road.
Bike Concord's vision for our city is one in which there are safe, reasonably direct routes for bicycles between all points, not just some routes. Do you support this as an unconditional goal, or do you see it as a second priority behind facilitating motor traffic movement?
I think it's an unconditional goal because to facilitate motor traffic movement, you need to get cars off the road. And so you can't have one without the other. And it also involves public transportation. I won't say that just the bikes, but also bikes with public transportation. Because I know there's areas where you can't put bike lanes. And being able to put your bike on a bus and being able to get to your destination would be a better solution than just, driving. So I do feel like it should be an unconditional goal where if we keep in the path that we are and trying to improve, like yesterday we passed the ordinance, and then if that's the path we're going to take, I think we're in the right direction, and we just have to keep on moving that way and helping the residents understand that this is the best for Concord, even though it goes against everything we've been living with. Like I said, I'm new to Concord, but these issues that we have here is not much different from other cities. So it's important for us to understand that we should be able to find innovative and creative ways to figure out how to get cars off the road.
How do you intend, if elected, to connect the Reeves Project, the Naval Weapons Station, to the rest of the city?
Well, first we need to make sure there's bike paths, bike trails, even walking paths. This is a project that, yes, it's in development, but it should take in consideration all of Concord's needs. And one of those is decongesting the roads. And we can't put so many more homes in these areas and not expect to have a traffic jam, or not to expect to have more people live in an area and not be able to get to their jobs, or or different create different businesses. So I think making sure that we connect both of the new project and I'm not going to call it Old Concord, just together will help. It will help. What's my word? It'll help create a sense of community where you know that you can get to that section of the city, to another section of the city, all in one bike. We're a big city, but we're not as big as others. So if other people can get around, so can we.
Funding for construction and especially maintenance of bicycle and pedestrian facilities can be difficult to find. What new sources of funding for Concord would you be willing to explore?
Well, I am in support of Measure X. So having that half-cents tax or go to transportation would be very effective for the projects. Other resources, I would have to look into it, because I know that even with the buses, they have their I forget what this is called, but where we're able to put the bike.
The rack.
The rack, there we go. Just making those more accessible to other people, knowing that they have the ability to make sure they can get on the bus and ride their bike, and people actually seeing that is what makes people think, hey, maybe I can ride my bike. So just having a partnership, a closer partnership with County Connection and City Council and the City of Concord would help. Just making it visible sometimes is all we need to help create more revenue, because people are actually putting money and understand that this is where my money's going, this is where my property taxes, my ballot measure taxes, everything, this is where it's going. So that's a good way with our Measure X, and if there's other forms that we can create, I would love to look into that.
Thank you. And finally, would you be willing to participate in a tour of Concord so you could be shown potential locations of bicycle and pedestrian improvements?
I would love to do that. Okay. It would be a great honor to even be included. I was excited when I saw the Bike Concord the repair stations at Los Santos, it was awesome because I thought about my bike. I haven't taken it out of the shed in a while. My husband's bike actually has been outside, but because our shed's kind of full. But other than that, we would have been riding our bikes much more. But in our neighborhood, it's okay. But to go out of our neighborhood, I live right between Concord Boulevard and Clayton. So to go off of it, it's kind of scary, as I said before. But I would love to see what else Concord has to offer with their bike path.
Well, thank you for your time.
No, thank you.